What I have here is a unit. I spent a lot of time on it, but I've already noticed a couple things I'd like to change. But it's on a book called An American Story. It's a memoir by a woman named Deborah Dickerson. I think the key words kind of talk about where I wanted to go with it. They're democracy, segregation, class, inequity, and upward mobility. The book deals with the issues of race and gender very specifically. It's a very graphic novel. It takes it from about 6 to 40. The vocabulary is very challenging. It's one of my issues with the book. She's a Harvard-educated lawyer, and she wants to prove it with her words. So it was a hard time trying to get them to always look, which ended up being good because they used a lot of dictionary time just trying to figure out what they were saying. The standards I was looking at were synthesizing key points and supporting detail, proofreading for correct English conventions, which to me is a really, really big standard and kind of hard to tame. I realized after looking at this. Too late, I thought about what Julie had said about taking one thing, like commas or semicolons, and I didn't do that. So you'll see it's a very broad English convention standard. The last is composing an argumentative paper that objectively evaluates two or more positions on an issue.
Say that one again, please.
Compose an argumentative paper that objectively evaluates two or more positions on an issue.
Mm-hmm.
What I was looking to do, she puts forth a lot of theses, a lot of major thoughts on being a woman in a male-dominated society, about being a black woman in a male-dominated society. Takes a look at the Air Force and a lot of different things. But my goal was to have them take one of her major theses that they found inspirational to them and motivated them to do something, whether good or bad, whether they agreed with it, really disagreed with it, just something that they hooked onto. And to write should I just read the rubric? Would that be an easy way to understand it? A letter to Deborah Dickerson, but the letter was taken on different forms. It was either poems, a play, short stories, or a personal narrative that spoke to her thesis but analyzed it from different perspectives. So someone chose what it's like to be a woman in a male-dominated society, and why men are better than women. A female wrote this. And she chose a poem to do it, and her goal would be to look at that thesis, men are better than women, from many different perspectives. From a woman's point of view, from a man's point of view, from is it different by race, does that change it? The project description is, the letter to Deborah Dickerson, the author of The American Story, is asking you to synthesize her ideas. You are being asked to take one of her major theses, from which there are many, and analyze it from multiple perspectives. You have the option of analyzing your chosen thesis in a variety of methods. You may choose to write poetry, a fictional short story, a one-act play, or a personal narrative. Your chosen method should serve as an outlet for you to take a deeper look at some of the positions she puts forth in her memoir. Dickerson is an aggressive, intense writer, is able to offer multiple views on a given topic, and you can actually see her thinking through her position. You are being asked to accomplish the same task. I would like you to, in as many pages as necessary, tackle a given thesis and evaluate each perspective on its merits. This is a project without a set length. All I ask is that you apply yourself totally while you attempt to wrestle with some very tough issues. Good luck, I'm sure you will succeed. I was looking at four things. Thesis, whether or not they have a thesis, and it's talked about through the whole story, or their whole piece of work. The reason I have this is because I find that oftentimes they state a thesis and then ramble in other directions. So I wanted them to concentrate on just focusing on one topic. The next one's detail, and that's looking at it from multiple perspectives. Do you just look at it one way, or can you see the gray area in this topic? That was one of my big goals through this, is to have them see that it's not a black and white world. There are a lot of different ways to look at it, and it's wrestling that we learn something. Grammar and punctuation. To get a B would be your letter is understandable despite a few grammatical and punctuation errors. I would change this section of it. And the last is format. Your letter is Times New Roman with a 12-point font and 1-inch margins. It seems really juvenile, but I find that a lot of people didn't do it. So I just want them to know this is how I expect things to be done. And those are the four ways.
And so we're looking at the final product?
Yes.
Okay.
There's the way I graded them attached. Do you want that attached?
Sure, yeah.
All right.
And so we can look at work and actually begin talking about it whenever something strikes us. So there's no time limit for being quiet as we look at the work.